Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna hop straight into this one. I'm outside, so there may be a lot of noise. I know you hear the birds chirping. It's a beautiful fucking morning. I got my, it's not alcohol by the way. Got my Bloom in this cup. Diving into the video, I'm gonna open up with something I wrote in the journal yesterday. Had a crazy day yesterday. Had an interview for a gym. I'm not even certified yet. Your boy's already getting interviews. Let's go. But it gave me some good insight because I started to notice some like old behavior patterns that I'm trying to usher my way out of so that I can get to the other side of like, you know, my end goal. I noticed these old behavior patterns start to show up yesterday where I noticed my avoidant behaviors were coming up within me. And I realized that what's happening is, you know, let me just read you my journal entry. Since my first block of study, I'm kidding guys, oh shit, don't fucking sting me. Shit could have got me, guys. That would have been the end of this video right there. Now I'm paranoid. Alright guys, let's get serious. Since my first block of study has ended, I've been avoiding getting back to work. I should go get a keyboard. My mouse that I'm using is not straining. Wait, fuck, I really can't read. Since my first block of study has ended, I've been avoiding getting back to work. I should go get a keyboard and a mouse so that I'm not straining my back while I'm at this desk. I'll get back to work after my call. Let me handle things with my insurance first, and then I'll get back to work. See, there's all these tasks that I need to get done, except the most important task, which is to finish chapter 7. And then the avoidant behavior tries to take hold of me in the form of vices, food, nicotine, etc. How often do we label ourselves as lazy or identify as people who can't get tasks done, when in reality, we are professionals at completing tasks that keeps us away from doing the uncomfortable work, the real work, the work that's hard to apply ourselves to because we've developed the muscle of running from it because we're afraid of failure. Let me say that again. We are professionals at completing tasks that keep us away from doing the uncomfortable work, the real work, the work that's hard to apply ourselves to because we've developed the muscle of running from it because we're afraid of failure. Then I turned to my whiteboard and I saw complete chapters 7, 8, and 9. Something odd happened. When I erased the 8 and the 9, suddenly I had a will to get back to work because chapter 7 getting completed was closer than chapter 7, 8, and 9 getting completed. The small wins matter. The micro steps don't just add up. They keep us engaged in the process, dopamine. These small checkpoints create the image of the light at the end of the tunnel. Don't be afraid to chop a task into parts that's more manageable at the level you're on. Let's fucking get into it, guys. So, yo, a lot of times what we try to do is we try to like overstep our boundaries. Let me give you an example. When I first started working out in the gym, I remember tearing my rotator cuff, and I had already been working out for maybe, I'd say probably 3 years at this point, because I still had a like an old Alabama, like a 2012 Alabama championship t-shirt that I had on, and that shirt was not too old. So I was probably working out for like 3-4 years at the time. I go in thinking I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger after watching like Pumping Iron or some shit. And I go and grab the 100-pound dumbbells and try to do some type of like ladder progression where you go from 100-pound dumbbells to 90-pound dumbbells, and as you keep going down in weight, you go up in reps. I grab the hundreds, I do my one. I may have even been using 110s, I don't remember. I just remember getting the 90. That's the dumbbell that stuck in my head. I remember grabbing those 90s and then it literally just like I could hear I could hear my rotator cuff tear, guys. In a gym that was packed and full of people bumping music, I could hear my rotator cuff. I was like, oh, drop the dumbbell, boom. You hear the 90-pound dumbbell, boom. I was like, yeah, I gotta go. Yo, bro, I thought I was Arnold. I had not yet built the stability in my rotator cuffs. Like, Was I in the gym for 4 years? Yes, I wasn't an absolute noob to the gym, but I was still developing. Like I was probably 19 at the time. Like I'm still developing, my muscles are still developing, you know, my joints are developing, like all these things are still working. And then you pair that with someone who goes in the gym and don't know what they're doing, don't even understand like how complex, you know, all these systems that work together. Like that shit wasn't in my mind. I wasn't thinking I could get injured doing this. Why? Because I was moving too fast. I was overstepping my place as a newbie. I wasn't completely new, but I was a newbie. 4 years, that's nothing, especially when you don't understand the concepts of like injuries and how they work, and like, you know, the part of lack of mobility and how it plays into injuries. You're still a newbie. So if you've been working out for 10 years, you can still be a fucking newbie. Hope you know that. But so often in life, we overstep our boundaries. I realized that yesterday I was stressed out. I was adding stress onto myself by trying to complete this NASM certification in 2 weeks because I want to get a job at a gym so bad. And I realized that this is not a realistic goal. There's something called SMART goals, guys. You want to make sure that they're specific. You want to make sure they're measurable. You want to make sure that they are, what does the A stand for? I don't know what the A stands for. But basically, let's say you set a goal, right? You set a goal to lose 200 pounds. That's a vague goal. That's not specific. Or sorry, you set a goal to lose weight. That's not a specific goal. To get that more specific, you would say, I want to lose 200 pounds. I want to lose 200 pounds. That's extreme. That's crazy amount of weight. You must be like a 500 pounder. And that's okay, right? So you get more specific. I don't want to just lose weight. I want to lose 200 pounds. Okay, cool. That's specific. That's a much smarter goal than I want to lose weight, right? Because a broad goal like that, it's not going to get you anywhere. Boom, you set the goal. Then you're like, okay, boom, I want to make sure I get there by the end of this year. I'm going to give myself 12 months to lose 200 pounds, okay? That may not be realistic. Basically, the point I'm trying to make is, guys, like, a lot of us put strain on ourselves and put importance on having a thing, and it's what we don't realize is that we think it's making us like, oh, this is gonna make me like want it more, but it's like, no, this is gonna like put you in a position where you just end up self-sabotaging. A lot of self-sabotage, at least for people like me who are like overly ambitious, a lot of the self-sabotage comes from putting too much on your plate, and then what happens is you start to feel like a failure because deep down you feel like it's not attainable. Or deep down, you're just getting frustrated because certain things aren't clicking as fast as you need them to so that you can reach your deadline. So that's not a smart goal. That's why you have to set goals. You have to be comfortable changing goals. Don't be afraid to chop a task into parts that's more manageable at the level you're on. That's the point I'm trying to make, guys. If you're a newbie in the gym, right, and your goal is to deadlift 350 pounds, chop that fucking goal in half so that you don't get discouraged. You need those little bits of dopamine hits. You do. Why? Because it's gonna keep you engaged into the process, right? The end goal is great, right? Remember, you have process goals, and then you have progress goals. Is that how it works? Progress, process. I don't know why I'm forgetting this, and this is another reason why I have to like. This is not gonna take me 2 weeks, guys. Like I want this shit ingrained in my fucking brain. Like, I'm just going back to my notes, so bear with me. So you have two type of goals. The most important type of goal you can have is a process goal. Why? Because if you wake up and do what is required every single day, inevitably you will get to your goal, right? So there's like, most people don't set process goals. They have these like outcome goals. That's what it's called. I'm gonna have to go back to my notes. It's gonna take me forever. You have outcome goals and you have process goals. Most people set goals and they're all based on the outcome. They're just outcome goals. Oh, I want to get rich. I want to make $1 million. And that's why people be like, but damn, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And then what happens? They get discouraged. It's because they don't have a process to back the outcome. They don't have a process to back the fucking outcome. If you want to lose 200 pounds, but you don't have a gym membership, you skip a ton of steps and you're never going to lose those 200 pounds. You don't have a gym membership. You don't have a personal trainer. 200 pounds, you're not going to do that by yourself. You're not. I don't even care if you go and get you some shots. GLP-1's not gonna do it. You need a behavioral coach, you need a personal trainer, you need a nutrition, you gotta invest in 3 different types of specialists. 3. Minimum. So often we set these outcome goals without the process in mind. You have to be aware of where you are in the process. If you are just starting out on your fitness journey, do not expect to lose 5 pounds of fat. You want to drop 5% body fat in 3 months? If you're new to weight training and you don't have a trainer, don't think you're going to just be able to go on ChatGPT and say, hey, give me a workout plan. It's not going to work. You need someone who's been in your shoes, who's produced results, not just for themselves, but for even, if not for themselves, at least for other people at the very least. But you need people who understand the process so that they can guide you through that. And while going through that process, you're hitting these checkpoints, right? Like you're staying, like you're these little missions that they may send you on. These checkpoints that you have. You're getting those dopamine hits. Okay, I see a win. I just saw a win. I just got a win. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's go. Let's go. Got a win. Let's go. Okay, just lost 5 pounds. Let's go. Like that shit's gonna keep you like motivated. But that's what I was experiencing yesterday. Like I was having a day where I was just like, I could feel the internal like resistance come up. And I'm like, yo, what's happening? And like, why are avoidant behaviors starting to come in? Like, I know I want to get this certificate outcome, but like this work is just like stressing me out. Like, can I get it done in the amount of time? Now I'm stressing, right? Why? Because I've gone too long without a dopamine hit. And funny enough, I was literally like 1 page away from finishing chapter 7. And I walked away from the computer. Why? Because it wasn't chapter 7. It was 7, 8, and 9 that I had the outcome goal of completing. But if I would have just got back to the process, which was finish chapter 7. So look, I had to erase the 8 and 9. I had to erase that because that was too big. At the level I was on, I had to make it smaller. The level I was on is, I'm still early on into the book. That's just where I'm at. I'm still early on into the book. But you know what? I can at least get 1 chapter closer to the middle. And then once I get to the middle, then I can get to the end. But I have to understand where I'm at in the process. And I have to pace myself. Because if I'm expecting dopamine too fast, I'm gonna self-sabotage. I'm gonna wanna turn back around to what's comfortable, which is not having to worry about this shit at all. But guess what? Then what happens? Then I don't have to worry about ever reaching an outcome at all. And I think that's why so many people don't chase their dreams. But then they die inside because they're trying to forget something that is unforgettable, which is this goal that they so badly want, but they're not willing to go through the process for it. But that goal doesn't die. It doesn't. If you're anything like me, the goal will never fucking die. You have to get there. But in order to get there, you're gonna have to learn to accept where you are in the journey. Understand that there is a process to get an outcome. And you have to learn how to reward yourself with where you currently are in that journey so that you continue to get those dopamine hits, you continue to get the positive feedback, the positive reinforcement that you're doing the right thing, you're getting rewarded, you're making progress through the process, and the outcome goal, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can taste it. So next time, if you're on your fitness journey, trust me, I know this shit gets tough. Look at my traps. Look at them. Sun's kissing me. Next time you get stuck in your fitness journey, reassess where you're at. Are you trying to get, is your goal right now too big? Was your goal this week to get to 250 pounds, but you weigh 230 pounds? Are you too obsessed with the end goal? Maybe you need to chop this shit in half. If you're looking at it from a week's perspective, remember, this is just a small timeline. A week is a small timeline. If you stretch that bitch out to a year, we're looking at a totally different picture, right? It's like if you were to zoom in on the Mona Lisa. It doesn't look the same as if you were to zoom out and see the whole frame. It doesn't look the same. So you're looking at a week, right? Okay. And I used to do this, like, if I blow this week, like it's over with. No. One, you need to be able, first thing you need to do is zoom all the way out. What day because if you're not committed at least for 90 days, shut the fuck up. You're not gonna get any results. You're not gonna get the results you really want. So first, zoom all the way out, understand the entire process, right? Because the 90 days is the process. That's what the process looks like. Okay, I have to do this for 90 days. Okay, boom. It's not just that, those day 1 through 7. That's not that's a fucking blip in the process. That's a blip. It's a blink of an eye. You blink your eyes and you shot through those 7 days. So a lot of people treat this small window, those 7 days, like it's the whole picture. It's not. Zoom that shit out. Understand the big picture. Then it makes it easier for you to see where you actually are in the journey. So if it's week 1 of 1 out of 90, right? This day's 1 through 7, and you're like on day 7, you're like, shit, I've only lost a pound, bro. You literally have like 82 more days left. You literally have like 82 or 83 more days left. I can't do math. It doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying, though. You have 83 more fucking days. Why are you talking about you only lost 1 pound, brother? That is a check. You just passed the checkpoint. Bing, what you've been doing for the past 7 days work. And I bet if you go and grab a tape measure and you measure your waist, you probably have lost 2 pounds, 2 inches around your waist. That's how you gotta fucking think about it, guys. That's the big.